Have you ever tried to describe someone, maybe a character in a book, or even just a person you met, and you just get stuck using the same old words? You know, big eyes, small nose. It gets a little boring. Well, today we're going to build a much richer, way more vivid vocabulary for talking about faces. So let's dive right in. Seriously, think about it for a second. When you look at someone's face, what do you really see? It's easy to say they have big eyes or a small nose, but what if we could be more specific, more artistic, and a whole lot more interesting? That's exactly what we're going to do today. So here's the plan. We're going to break down the face piece by piece, and I'll give you some powerful new words that will really make your descriptions come alive. We'll start with the basics, and from there, build a complete, really detailed picture. Let's start right in the middle with what's basically the centerpiece of the face, the nose. It's often one of the most defining features, so having the right words for it is absolutely key. First up, we've got the Roman nose. You've probably heard this term before. The name actually comes from how much it looks like the profiles you see on ancient Roman statues. It just means a nose with a very straight, strong, and usually pretty prominent bridge. Next is the pointy nose. And as the name kind of suggests, this description is all about the tip. A pointy nose gets really narrow at the end and comes to a distinct point. It's less about the bridge and all about that sharp finish. Now, on the complete other end of the spectrum from that super straight Roman nose, you have the crooked nose. This simply describes a nose that, well, isn't straight. It might have a little bump on the bridge or a slight bend to one side. It can be a totally natural feature, but it can also be the result of an old injury, which might be why you sometimes associate it with athletes, like boxers. Okay, now let's move on to the features that truly frame the face and add so much personality, right? We're talking about the eyes, the eyebrows, and of course, those charming little indents we call dimples. You ever noticed how some people's eyes seem to be set really deep into their face? That's what we call sunken eyes. And because they're set so far back, it can sometimes create shadows underneath, which gives the appearance of dark circles. All right, moving up to the eyebrows. When they're very thick and just full of hair, the perfect word is bushy. It's a simple, super descriptive term that immediately paints a clear picture of some strong brows. And then there are dimples, those small, natural little dents that show up on a person's cheeks, especially when they smile. They're such a unique feature, almost like a little punctuation mark for a happy face. Okay, let's zoom in a little closer and talk about some of the smaller details you might find on the skin. Specifically, let's clear up the difference between two things that people get confused all the time: moles and freckles. So, the crucial difference here, the main thing to remember, is texture. A mole is typically raised up from the skin, kind of like a tiny bump, while freckles are completely flat. Moles are also often darker and can be larger. Sometimes people call them a beauty mark, whereas freckles are usually those small, light brown dots that you see in clusters. We are so close to creating a truly complete picture. Let's just add a few final descriptive terms for the mouth, hair, and the overall shape of the face. Think of these as the last pieces of our puzzle. So instead of just saying big lips, a more expressive term is full lips. This suggests a sort of puffy, rounded quality. And the most famous example of this? Probably Angelina Jolie, right? Next up, bald. This one's pretty simple. It just means having no hair on your head. This can be a natural thing that happens over time, or it can be a deliberate style choice. Either way, the word is the same. And finally, let's run through a few quick-fire terms for the overall shape. A face can be described as oval, round, or square. The chin also adds a ton of character. It can be prominent, which means it's large. It can be angular and square, or it can even be dimpled with that little indentation right in the middle. I want to leave you with this thought from the Roman philosopher Cicero. I just think it's a beautiful reminder that when we describe a face in detail, we're not just listing off features. We're trying to capture the essence of a person, the story that their face tells. So here's my question for you. As you go about your day, what features are going to stand out the most now? With this new vocabulary, I really hope you'll start to see the people around you with a fresh, more descriptive eye. Thanks for tuning in.